Hello, friends. I'm Ramita Gura. On behalf of Dhai Akhar Goa, I would like to welcome you all those who are present here in this virtual world of Google Meet. Friends, Dhai Akhar Goa is a group of individuals coming from various backgrounds, having common love for art, culture, and environment. The name Dhai Akhar is inspired by Kabir's famous couplet पोथी पढ़ी पढ़ी जग मुआ पंडित भया न कोय ढाई आखर प्रेम का पढ़े सो पंडित होय, which is also the aim of this group to spread love and harmony with the help of art. Dhai Akhar Goa started its journey from 13th April 2018, and since then we have had many such programs in Goa. But due to pandemic and the changed times, we had to have our programs online, like how we are having this program. Uh, Last month itself, we had hosted a talk by Ms. Aruna Ganu on the poetic journey of famous Marathi poet Kusumagraj. And today, we have Aarti Das, who in her talk titled Trees and Me, will be giving us an insight into trees of Goa and backyard ecology. She will also share her experiences related to documentation of various plants, flowers, and backyard ecology, and how it has influenced our culture, festivals, cuisine, and indigenous lifestyle. I know most of you are familiar with Aarti and her work, but still, before she begins her pictorial journey with trees, I would like to give you a brief introduction of Aarti Das. Well, friends, Aarti Das is a freelance journalist based in Goa. Her writing mainly focuses on art, culture, and ecology. She has completed more than 15 years in the profession, journalist profession, where she started her career in Goa's English Daily Herald, followed by Gomantak Times, and finally at the Navhin Times, where she worked for 7 years. In her features and articles, she tried to give an idea about the wealth of Goa through its art, culture, literature, cinema, etc. Currently, she is working as a freelancer and has written for international publications like Atlas Obscura, Whetstone Magazine, national publications like The Hindu, Deccan Herald, Scroll.in, environment reporting based publications like Down to Earth, Mongabe India, Roundglass Sustain, Nature to In Focus, to name a few. In the year 2019, she was the joint winner of Felicio Cardozo Award for Environmental Journalism, organized by Goa Union of Journalists, GUJ, for her article on poaching of frogs published on Nature in Focus website. She is also the co-founder of Mission Green Goa and EcoTrex Goa and uses these platforms to speak about threats to Goa's ecology, especially the garbage menace. Well, friends, when she is not writing, she is very busy in her garden. Well, friends, before Aarti starts, I would like to request yourself to kindly mute yourself and put off your videos. Also note that after Aarti finishes her presentation, we will be having a question answer session. So, Aarti, I request you to kindly take over. Please start with your presentation.
Uh, Thank you, Ramita, for that introduction. That was really nice and sweet. Before I start my presentation, I want to clarify one thing that I am not a trained botanist or a research scientist. So my knowledge is limited when it comes to trees and ecology as such. But I have this curiosity to know more about trees and ecology as a whole. So this is my documentation, which I'm doing for last 3-4 years. And this is the outcome based on that. And also this is an ongoing process. I have not completed this documentation process. So whatever I learned, I felt like sharing with you all because it is important to know more about ecology. So with this, I'll start my presentation now.
In my presentation, I'll be speaking about the trees I encountered and documented, backyard ecology, and the role ecology plays in shaping our lifestyle, culture, etc. One may wonder why I would like to talk and document trees. My answer would be why not? I always had fascination for trees right from my childhood. Probably it was because I was born and brought up in an urban setting where we didn't have the luxury of a backyard forest or a green space. So I started studying about nature in my own way, and being a journalist, I tried to write about ecology and environmental issues. And during this process, I met many researchers, scientists who are studying birds, butterflies, reptiles, insects, plants, etc. And thanks to my friend Talula De Silva, who is an architect and environment educator, I met Dr. Usha Desai. It was a chance meeting with her that my awareness about trees grew, and I started taking this hobby more seriously. Dr. Usha, who is a doctor by profession, started learning about trees formally by joining various courses under Bombay Natural History Society after her retirement. She also made a point to share her knowledge by conducting tree walks along with her friend Reni Vyas in Mumbai. Until now, they have conducted more than 100 walks in Mumbai. Dr. Usha started such walks here in Goa also around 4 years ago. And these walks inspired me to start my journey with trees. During these walks, we learn about trees not only scientifically but also through stories, historical events, songs, and even recipes. It's a wonderful way to learn about trees, and I enjoyed this process thoroughly and made numerous notes based on all this information. I sometimes wrote about it in my articles, but that was not enough, as I wanted to document each and every tree which I encountered. So last year, I thought of starting a monthly blog dedicated to one tree which blooms or is in season at that time of the year. So in March 2020, I started my first blog and I wrote about the red cotton silk tree, which you can see in this image here, which blooms at that time of the year. Another main reason why I started tree blogging was because of our shrinking green spaces and a continuous threat to our forest. I think in these last 3-4 years, Goa's ecology has drastically changed as we constantly see cutting down of trees, hills, mangrove forest to widen roads of our real estate projects. The reasons are varied. Also, the last year's Say Mole campaign that made us aware about a direct threat to Mole forest due to 3 development projects had a huge impact on me. And I felt this need to write about our ecology before all is lost, and in this whole process, create a sort of awareness, especially about our backyard spaces. In this infographics, you can see which is made by artist Danis da Silva Pereira. She speaks about the fragmentation of forests due to these development projects. If tomorrow these projects come in, it will directly result in population decline of wildlife, invasive pathogens will come in, it will result in water pollution and roadkill of wildlife. These are just few direct implications. The indirect implications are varied. Speaking of backyards, I believe they are the most neglected spaces, be it the spaces behind our house, building complex, or even our own city backyard. We use these spaces as dump yards to dump waste, to flow of untreated sewage, construction debris, and whatnot. But in reality, these backyards are green spaces which are full of wetlands or forest and are brimming with wildlife and trees, which needs our urgent attention. In this image here, this is the backyard of the Panji city. You see a lot of garbage being dumped here and sewage being flown here. Actually, this is a proper wetland, and if we conserve this wetland, I think we could able to solve many cities issues, starting with flooding, which we happen to experience every monsoon season. When I started this blog, I thought that I may just write 4 or more trees, as I never intended to make it a continuous process. But as we know, everything changed by end of March 2020. The country went into the nationwide lockdown due to the pandemic, and all of us are forced to be indoors. This scenario completely changed my outlook towards nature. At that time, I was in a village called Masha in Kankon in South Goa. Here, I've started focusing more on my surroundings, our backyard forest, birds, animals, and how small changes take place in our nature, which I had not noticed before. I felt the urge to write more about it, and so I thought of continuing this process. I started this series, Trees We Love, and till now I have documented 16 trees. Most of them are found in our backyards. So here I am sharing my top 5 trees. I would like to add here that most of this information is based on our tree walks conducted by Dr. Usha Desai. I also referred to few online research papers, consulted some experts, and also some amazing books. Speaking of books, here are 2 books which I like to mention. These are The Cities and Canopies by Harini Nagendra and Seema Mundoli, and Trees of Delhi, a field guide by Pradeep Krishan. Both these books are really good for the beginners because it speaks about the trees found in urban spaces and avenue trees, and it gives a very nice and detailed information in a very simple language, so it is worth trying. Speaking about my top 5 trees, the first one I would like to talk about is the quite essential, the mango tree. The botanical name of the mango tree is Mangifera indica. It is one of the most commonest trees found in Goa, and Goans have a special bond with this tree and definitely with its fruit. There are more than 500 varieties of mangoes found all over the world. Most of them are grafted varieties. It is believed that the Portuguese Jesuits in Goa introduced this technique that even went to the Mughal courts in the 16th century. In Goa, once we had more than 100 varieties of cultivated mangoes, but now the number is around 40 or even less. The most loved and a common found variety is the Mankurad. But for me, what's interesting is the wild varieties of mangoes, which are called ghota. These trees grow wild and without much care, and these ghota are very hyperlocal fruits. What I mean by that the flavor of each and every ghota is quite different based on where it is found, and that's why they are also named after this flavor. So in Mashai village, I came across names like Noichi Amli. Noichi means which is the tree found near the water body, and the fruit is used for pickles. Nai means water body. Saptarangi, Kulkula. Kulkula means ghota with more juice and less fiber. Swami, that has an orange tilak or a mark on its head. Sakrechi, ghota which is sweet like sugar. Kattekarchi, a mango tree found near coconut shell debris. Kothmir, which is very aromatic like coriander. Budkula, etc. These ghotas are usually used to make pickles, and a local delicacy called sasav or ghas, as shown in this image here, or preserved by making mango leather, locally known as sat. Speaking of this tree, it also plays an important role in our biodiversity. Many wild orchids, ferns grow on this trunk. Also, it is used and favored by caterpillars of common barren butterfly. Found commonly on the young saplings of the plant, it camouflages with its leaf venation. So it actually looks like a leaf itself. And on the trunk of the old tree, like this one here, you can get a cocoon of cup moth caterpillar. So in all, having this tree in one's backyard has a lot of benefits for you and for ecology. The second tree I would like to talk about is the tamarind tree. That goes with the botanical name Tamarindus indica. It is assumed, also its botanical name suggests, that this tree is native to India but it actually belongs to Central Africa and reached India many centuries ago. And now it is integral part of our habitat, stories and culture. This information was shared by Seema Mundoli, co-writer of the book Cities and Canopies, during her talk in Goa. It is also mentioned in the book along with many other such details. Another interesting aspect about this tree that the genus Tamarindus is monotypic, which means that it contains only this species. And the name tamarind is derived from the Arabic word tamar hind, which means Indian date. This tree has a lot of cultural significance as this branch is used during the Tulsi Vivaah ceremony held after Diwali. It is also part of many mythological stories. The tamarind fruit or the pod is actually a legume, and as we know, it is mainly used as a souring agent in Indian cuisine. Its seed is also used to make flour or to extract oil and used in some traditional games and even to make traditional folk art. The fruit is high in tartic acid, sugar, vitamin B, C, and even calcium. But even after all these properties, this tree, especially its fruit, is underutilized, and thus it is part of the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization's list of neglected underutilized species. It is one of the cheapest and accessible sources of nutrient, and the tree is also drought tolerant. Thus it is ideal to grow even on wastelands. So having this tree in your backyard has a lot of benefits. The next tree I would like to talk about is the kokum tree. Its fruit is also used as a souring agent in Goan and Konkan cuisine. The kokum tree, with its botanical name Garcinia indica, is not only native to India but is also endemic to Western Ghats, which means that it is only found in this region. This forest species belongs to the mangosteen family. In India, around 35 species are found in this family, and out of these 17 are endemic. Out of these 17, 7 are endemic to Western Ghats, 6 in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, and 4 in the northeastern region of India. These berries you see here have a lot of health and other benefits. The juice made from its fresh pulp is an ideal summer drink as it's full of antioxidants and vitamins. It is also a natural coolant. The outer skin of the fruit is sun-dried and then soaked in the juice of kokum. Here you can see. These are then dried and cured, and it is used throughout the year. The most common and popular use of it is in the sol curry, which is generally consumed after the meal as it helps in digestion. Its seeds are also used to extract oil or to make kokum butter. It is mainly sold in the few local markets, the famous being the Friday Mapsa market. Speaking about native fruits and local ingredients, another name comes to my mind, and that's the tefla or tirfal tree, which is commonly known as Indian prickly ash tree. Its botanical name is Xanthosxylum latza, and it is also found in our backyard forest. The main part of this tree is its bead-like fruits. The dried husk of it is a commonly used spice in traditional Goan cuisine to add some zing. It has a peculiar taste and can even make your mouth numb for some time after consuming it raw. Very often this spice is termed as Sichuan pepper that has a botanical name Xanthosxylum bunguineum, which is widely used in Chinese cuisine. This spice, however, belongs to the same citrus family and Xanthosxylum genus, but they are different spices. This backyard forest tree attracts many bees as it is a dioecious species where male and female flowers grow on separate trees. The tree has a grey color bark that has cone-shaped thorns on it. Traditionally, the thorny branch of this tree was used as a kitchen grater. This tree is also medicinal. It is commonly known as toothache tree as the fruits are used to cure toothache. Drifting away from native fruits, I want to lastly speak about my most favorite tree. It is the scholars or devil's tree. I am sure you all must have seen this tree on highways, backyards, or even in our forest. It is one of the commonest trees found in our urban spaces. It is a tall tree that can go straight up to 40 meters. It has 7 leaves clubbed together and is known for its heady scented flowers, an indicator of the arrival of winter in Goa, as it blooms around October or early November. It is the favorite of many, including poet and Nobel laureate Rabindranath Tagore. He believed that according to ancient wisdom, knowledge is received from 7 directions while referring to its 7 leaves, pointing in 7 directions. So, at the prestigious Vishwabharati University in West Bengal, the students were gifted with a small twig of this tree on their convocation. You all may wonder why this tree is called Devil's Tree. Dr. Desai, while quoting from P.V. Bole's Field Guide to Common Trees of India, suggests it could be because of the presence of bitter alkaloids in all parts of the tree, and thus it is shunned by cattle. Some even suggest it could be because of the intoxicating smell of the flowers. Whatever the name may be, I just admire this tree when it blooms, and it generally blooms at night, bringing lot of character. With these trees, which are known for its pretty flowers and useful fruits, there are also some trees which may not give us fruits or flowers, but we still have them around us. Not only that, we also worship them. These are the ficus trees. There are hundreds of varieties of ficus trees. The most common one, which are generally worshipped, are the word or the banyan tree and a peepal tree. One may wonder why our ancestors thought of revering them. There's one reason which Dr. Usha loves to explain to us, and that's because these trees play an important role in biodiversity. They provide food and shelter to many species of birds, monkeys, bats. Also, every ficus tree in the world has its own unique vase pollinator, and this whole pollination process is considered as one of the most complex ones, where the pollination takes place inside a fig that grows on these trees, and this fig has both male and female flowers. This also means that any threat to a particular vase pollinator may be either due to pollution and use of pesticides. This will in turn hamper the ficus tree. In Goa, we are lucky enough as we can find one of the oldest banyan trees at the temple complex of the Jivottam Partagali Much in Kankan. As you can see here, the whole area is covered with this tree. Speaking of this tree, I would also like to mention about the root bridges, which are found in the state of Meghalaya. I happened to visit this state a few years ago and I've discovered these root bridges. This is the double-deck root bridge. Here there are 2 bridges made out of this ficus tree. Here the locals have utilized the root of this ficus tree to make these living bridges. These bridges are hundreds of years old, and it is the best example of bioengineering and indigenous knowledge, where people have used natural resources in the best possible manner. Coming to my second part of my presentation, and that is backyard ecology. During this process of documentation of trees, I also discovered the world of plants, flowers, bees, butterflies, reptiles, you name it. They all have such an important role to play in our biodiversity. And when you learn about trees, studying them becomes part of the process. Here in this image you see the flower which is called Naregamia alata, that is its botanical name. It is generally found like a undergrowth, and it is endemic to Western Ghats, and it flowers during this time of the year. It is also considered medicinal. All these images of all these creatures is actually clicked just behind my room in Concord. So it is actually a best example, you can say, of backyard ecology. To understand what is backyard ecology, I think we have to look at our festivals, and the best example of it is none other than the Ganesh Chaturthi festival, which is held in the month of August or September. This whole festival is actually celebration of biodiversity, and this is well represented in Matori, which is a wooden canopy suspended from the ceiling above the Ganesh idol, as you can see in this image here. and it is decorated with fruits, flowers, tubers, seeds, pods, which are in season at that time of the year. Traditionally, all this material was available in one's backyard or nearby forest. But now most of it is found in the local markets, the famous being the Banastari market. This is the image of the Banastari market, and this is what you see here. These are the fruits of the Terminalia elliptica tree or the matti tree, which is actually the state tree of Goa. And the matoli is considered incomplete without this fruit. This you see here is are the various wild fruits and vegetables which are on display on way to Kankan. So if you see here you find a lot of cultivated varieties of fruits and other things, whereas here you find a lot of wild varieties of plants and fruits and flowers. So this image is just to give an distinction between two types of markets. And this is the traditional Chaturthi festival in the rural part of Goa. Another aspect of this festival is the use of wild flowers, leaves, etc. Like here, these yellow flowers which bloom at this time of the year when the Chaturthi begins are the harna or the sonki flowers. These flowers actually symbolize goddess Parvati, which is also worshipped along with Ganesha. Mahadev and Parvati are worshipped along with Ganesh. As we know, they are the parents of Lord Ganesh. In some places like Kankan, a bundle of wild leaves wrapped in alocasia leaves is used to represent Parvati, as you can see here, and coconut is used to represent Mahadev, which is, I believe, common in many parts. Also during this festival, there is a ritual of presenting 21 leaves to Lord Ganesh. These 21 leaves are basically wild leaves, and most of them are highly medicinal. This is called pudi, which is this bundle contains 21 leaves, and it is wrapped in the leaves of the Arjun tree. This what you see here is called the dhobis tree because of this white leaf, and this plant is also very important in this the whole offering, which is called patri. Patri means basically a bunch of wild leaves, and this particular plant is very important part of patri. Also you can see here these are these face masks made of the Mahadev and Parvati, which are made of alocasia and this patri leaf. So if you see here, this whole imagery is a beautiful representation of the biodiversity, and it is very beautifully celebrated by the indigenous people. Another such festival that celebrates biodiversity, which I also mentioned before, is the Tulsi Lagna. As we are aware that this ritual involves marriage ceremony between Tulsi or holy basil with Lord Vishnu. And on this day, the Tulsi planter is decorated with branches of various trees like of tamarind, sugarcane, amla or Indian gooseberry, and a stick of forest tree known as Gino with the botanical name Lea indica. This is a forest species, and it is actually a shrub or a small tree which is laden with berries. It is considered medicinal, and it is used by local communities. Along with these branches, the outer part of the planter is decorated with a banana pseudo stem, which you can see here, which is locally known as Kedichi path. This again symbolizes the importance of trees in our lives and need to celebrate it. During this journey, I also encountered a world of wildflowers, which is just amazing and colorful. The best time to discover them is around September, when monsoon starts receding in Goa, and these flowers are mainly found on our plateaus. Like all these flowers I clicked from one plateau itself. The flower you see here, it's called golden glory lily or tiger claws, which is considered medicinal. This one is called a silver coxcomb, and its leaves actually are edible. The kuddikechi bhaji, what is locally known, are the leaves of this plant. Coming to speaking about plateaus, they are very critical when it comes to conservation, because they are home for reptiles, amphibians, birds, and also a place where you will see fresh water ponds. but sometimes they are termed as wastelands and are often used to dump waste. These places are heaven for these flowers, and many of these are highly medicinal. One important species I would like to mention here is the flowers of Sarpagandha, that goes with the botanical name Raulophia serpentina, which is in the red list of the IUCN, that is International Union for Conservation of Nature, and it is heavily used in Ayurvedic medicine to treat high blood pressure. In many places, this plant is under threat, but in Goa, we still find it in semi-forested areas and even sometimes on roadsides. All these flowers also help in breeding of bees and butterflies, which are important for our food security. They also improve the soil health, prevent erosion, and some even improve the water quality. The next part of my talk is about the traditional cuisine. During my stay and visits to Mashai village, I discovered a whole new world of local cuisine where the ingredients are directly sourced from one's backyard, farm, or just an open space. The best time to observe this is now during the monsoon season. Here, at this time, lot of leafy vegetables are eaten, and these vegetables are rich in antioxidants, zinc, and fiber. Also, on the day of Chaturthi, a vegetable is made from 5 different leafy vegetables. It is also the time to eat lot of leaves of colocasia or alu, as it is locally known. Here you see the leaves of alu, which is known as Tirupacha alu. This is known as taro, and this is vatalu. Vatalu actually grows on a tree trunk, and it is believed that wherever this vatalu grows is an indication of a healthy ecosystem. Another most commonly eaten vegetable is taikiro. And there are many other vegetables eaten at this time. Some of these names are kuddukechi bhaji, the one I showed before, chaniecho detto, tikichi bhaji, fagla, which is like a fruit, looks like a bitter gourd. Kill means tender bamboo shoots. As you see here, it is commonly eaten in northeast of India, but here in Goa also it is eaten at this time when the new shoot starts coming up. This is known as luti, which is a wild elephant foot yam, and its tender leaves, what you see here, the budding tender leaves are eaten. Mind you, its tuber is not edible, it's not eaten, only its tender leaves at this time of the year are eaten. There are also some forest species like these leaves of shirmundli, its tender leaves are eaten. And there is also another delicacy which is actually extract of the wild banana plant, as you see here in this image. It is locally called gabo. It is the central tender pseudo stem of the wild banana which is harvested. And it is harvested at a specific time at the budding stage of the banana flower. As you can see here, this flower is already in bloom. So when it is in budding state, the central stem of this tree is chopped down as is harvested. Otherwise, it is not considered edible, and it is added to the local vegetarian delicacy called khatkate. Also, this is at this time of the year only and not otherwise. The one thing I discovered recently is the use of rock fig, the ficus tree that grows on rocks. The image is here, you can see. Many a time it is confused with the peepal tree, but that is another ficus and this is the another ficus. These leaves are actually used to make patori, as you can see here. As we all know that haldi leaves are used to make patori, but these leaves are not found throughout the year, but only during monsoon. But if you have a craving for patori or if you want to make patori for a particular festival, you can still make it with these leaves. This fig is locally known as Fatarford, which literally means breaking the rock, as the root of this tree eventually break the rock on which it grows. Not only these, but also the leaves of jackfruit tree are used to make a local delicacy called wheat, which is similar to idli. Here the leaves are shaped as cones and a batter is steamed in them. Another interesting use of leaves I discovered was to make homemade concoction called kada. Here 5 or 6 types of leaves are ground together or boiled together and consumed early in the morning on an empty stomach. It basically acts like a cleanser. In this image, you can see there is leaves of neem, then there is vatalam, this is tulsi, this is guava, this is mugri, and this is kiraite also. Along with leaves, even flowers are part of Goan cuisine. Like in rural parts of Goa, flowers of elephant foot yam are eaten. This yam blooms just before the monsoon and it is again eaten in its bud form. You don't eat it when it is already flowered, but when it is in the bud form. And then in monsoon, a chutney is made from the tiny white flowers of Indian paveta that blooms at that time of the year. And in winters, lot of tubers are eaten. Some are very rarely found in markets. I have documented at least 10 varieties of edible tubers found in Goa. These are basically sweet potatoes and locally known as kanga. Then there are others like karanda or air potato. And again the tuber of this plant, katekanga or Asiatic yam, chirka or Guinea arrowroot, and its aerial root known as chirkul, yellow yam, kuka or Chinese potato, jhirmule, mundleo or aloo tuber, madi, the tuber of giant taro, and elephant foot yam. Most of these tubers belong to the family of Dioscorea, and there are more than 600 varieties in this genus. All these ingredients are hyperlocal, seasonal, and nutritious. I would also like to add here that one must be careful when it comes to harvesting these ingredients. As they are seasonal, a prior knowledge of when, where, and how to harvest is very important. These locals are practicing it for generations and are also aware not to over-harvest. Like most of these vegetables, the green leafy vegetables are harvested for a month or two. This could be a way to deal with over-harvesting. Lastly, I would like to speak about how trees have shaped our indigenous lifestyle. As we are aware that traditionally we had an agrarian lifestyle, it meant not only about farming but also having a direct and intimate relationship with our ecology. I happened to experience this lifestyle when I met some of the members of the Veri Gaonkar community in Kankan. I was part of the 2-day residency which was organized by Victor Hugo Gomes of Goa Chitra Museum. Here I learned how these people still depend on their forest, and it is reflected through tools, objects they still use. The most common being baskets, which are made from bamboo and cane. These are intricately woven objects, and these old men and women whom I interviewed are probably the last generation to do so. Here in this image you see he is making a broom out of the coconut palm, midri of the coconut palm. This is the chatai or the madri or what you call it, shendri also, made from the coconut palm again. Here he is making these baskets which are made either from bamboo and cane. And this is again he is making a basket to store grains. It is a very intricate process where he uses hay and different types of ropes to make it. It is called mudi. One may wonder that nobody is using these baskets or they are not in demand. But this was proved wrong when I happened to visit Jatra, which was held in the month of April and on the day of Ram Navami at Partagali Math in Poyangin, Kankan. Here weavers from neighborhood village of Ankola in Karnataka come and sell these products. This fair lasts for a day and at the end of it all these products are sold. However, due to pandemic, it was not held for last 2 years. Here is also the image of all the baskets which are on display at the Goa Chitra Museum. It's a wonderful place to understand the Goa's indigenous lifestyle, especially the agrarian lifestyle. Another interesting object of agrarian lifestyle is ropes. I discovered some ropes which are used for cattle and are made from the bark of the kavan tree. This kavan is also this bark is also of kavan is also used to tie the fruits of matori, which I shared before, the images of matori, and also the bark of the kumbhio tree. This is the image of the kumbhio tree, and these are the flowers of the tree. One of the villagers told me that they harvest this bark just after the monsoon, as the fiber has to be of a certain texture, not too soft or too hard. Also, these ropes are soft compared to coir ropes and thus an ideal for cattle use. This is just one example of the indigenous knowledge. These villagers are aware of when, where, and how to harvest these natural resources and always maintain that balance. One may wonder why I document this information, as I believe this information is dwindling. Now it is difficult for us to identify a neighborhood tree, or we are not sure what our festivals symbolize or how to cook our favorite childhood dish, and most importantly, how to live sustainably. With this presentation, I have tried to touch on these topics, or should I say, just tip of the iceberg. Thanks for joining this talk, and if you need more information about the trees or the topics I covered in this talk, you can check my blog here. It's www.artigoa.wordpress.com. Thanks once again for spending time on my talk. It was really lovely sharing this information. Thank you.
Thank you, Aarti, very much for this very informative presentation, for making us look around the wealth of nature that we have, respect it, try to do something to save it. I know all our participants must have been inspired by this wonderful talk that you gave us. It was a very informative and very inspiring talk. Thank you very, very much. So now I would like to request our participants to kindly, you can ask your queries or express your views or any remark that you may be wanting to make regarding the topic that Aarti discussed. You are most welcome. Kindly unmute yourself and ask your question. Yes, friends? We also have Madam Usha among the participants, who has inspired Aarti a lot, and so also many other people.
Dr. Usha, would you like to say something?
Aarti, I'm very, very proud of you. You presented everything so well and such good documentation. You know, I started learning about tree at the age of 53. And you started
Wow.
learning at 33. So imagine what you will be when you are as old as I am now after 50 years. So please continue to do that. 1 tree a month is more than enough. In 5 years, you will be publishing 60 trees. All the best. Lots of love. God bless you. Thank you very much, Ramita, also, for allowing Aarti to speak.
No, thanks to you, Dr. Usha. It is who you inspired me. Like, you always told me that you should write because you're a journalist, you should use your skills. And you, in a way, like, pushed me to do this. Otherwise, I'm a very lazy person. I don't think I would have done this.
तुका ऐकू येता म्हगेलें?
Hi, sir. Hi, sir.
Okay. I would like to ask you, make a request to you. तुवें जो अभ्यास करून बरयला, it is really, it is very, very helpful to the young people. Also, it will help the posterity. पण तुवें हें जर कोंकणींत बरोवन काडलें न्ही, it will look more authentic.
Authentic, I know, sir.
Yeah, because तुवें जी नांवां घेतल्यात, all the vegetation that you have mentioned, in Konkani, immediately they strike. So, of course, दोन्ही भाषांनी गरजेचें कित्याक गोंयकारांक आनी गोंय भायल्या की. But at the same time, I would request you, try and make it available to Konkani readers also.
Yes. And we have Ramita with us around to help us.
Yeah, definitely. We all are there, don't worry.
Yeah.
Anyway, congratulations. It was a wonderful presentation, and you brought to the knowledge of Goan people how much Goan vegetation is there in Goa.
Yeah.
Yes.
आम्ही गोंयकार आसून
गोंयची वळख गोंयकारांक करून दिवपाचें हे काम खूब म्हत्वाचें.
हांव एक कितें म्हणू म्हणजे वॉट शूड आय से मावजो बाबान कितें म्हणा ताज्या फुडें तूं जें डॉक्युमेंटेशन करता न्ही थंय जंय जंय तुवें नांवां बरयल्या पुसाची झाडांची थंय इंटू ब्रॅकेट देवनागरी स्क्रिप्टीन नांवां बरय म्हणजे कोंकणी कितें जाता केन्ना केन्ना थोडीं अक्षरां आसा जी इंग्लिशीन बरोवंक शकना. आळूचें जाता आलू इंग्लिशीन वाचची
व्हेरी ट्रू
सो अशें जर करशी आनी इंग्लिशीन बरोवपाची गरज कित्याक आसता इट रिचीज मोर पीपल. कोंकणीन बरयल्यार ऑफकोर्स गोंयकारांचें तें ऑथेंटीक जातलें. आय हॅव नो डावट अबाउट इट. मावजो बाबान सांगलां तें बरोबर आसा पुणून ताका इंग्लिशीन जर तूं बरयता जाल्यार कोंकणींतलीं नांवां देवनागरी स्क्रिप्टीन बरय. इतलेंच म्हजें सजेशन.
Very good suggestion, ma'am.
Thank you so
आरती
much.
तुगेलें काम खूब बरें जालां पूण आनी खूब एडिशन करपाचें उरलां.
हय
तें एडिशन करपाक वेळ आसा पूण स्टार्ट केलें तें बरें केलां आनी जें एडिशन करपाक जाय यू मस्ट गो ऑल अराउंड गोवा बिकॉज देर आर some type of trees or plants only restricted to particular areas.
Yes.
आणि काय इतली वखदी असतात medicinal plants. You should take cognizance of that also.
Correct.
Anyway, once again, congratulations and all the best in your future ventures. Okay.
Thank you, sir. I'm glad you took part in this presentation. Thank you.
I wouldn't pay love. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bhai. We all know how much passionate Bhai is about environment and how much work he has done. And the thing is, we had constriction of time also. So, and this is just a start for Aarti, as she said. Since the pandemic, she has started this new project of hers, and she has got a long way to go. And I know she is going to do it. आणि कोंकणीनी काम करतलें तातूंत म्हाका कांय दुबाव ना. Any more queries? Anyone else would like to add something?
Yeah, I would like to know the botanical name of the Fatherford.
Okay, the Fatherford rock fig, as it is known, I was little confused because there are 2-3 botanical names. So I am not exactly sure which one is found in the place where I documented it, because I couldn't verify with the experts, because I just recently discovered, as I told you. So I can always ask the botanist and can let you know.
Sure. Is it a tree with a lot of big thorns on it?
Not thorns, but it is peepal tree. Peepal tree. Should I share the image again?
Yes, if you could.
Yeah.
Ficus arnotiana.
I think Dr. Usha has given you the name.
Okay.
Ficus arnotiana.
Okay, Dr. Usha, I'll note that. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Aarti, and congratulations on your presentation. Great documentation. Keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you, Sulochana ji.
Yeah, here is the image. This is the image.
Hello, Aarti.
All right.
And if you go around the Ribandar Road, the Causeway Road, you will see they coming up now, like they are blooming at this time of the year now. So you can't miss them. They are like the light maroon color, the tender leaves. So you can't miss them. So yeah. But I think Dr. Usha gave you the botanical name. Yeah.
Yes, I've noted.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I can see many botany experts also in among our participants. Like if you all want to add something.
Hello, Aarti.
Hello. Yeah. Hi, Pastor.
Hello.
Yeah,
Hi. Good evening. Good evening, and congratulations. Very nice presentation. Was very, very, very informative. I'll get back to you for some details later. Okay.
Yes, sure. Anytime.
Yeah. Okay. See you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
And say a big hi to Ramita Gurab too.
Thank you so much, Pascal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, Aarti. Very good presentation. Nicely
Thank you.
documented. Keep it up.
Thank you. That's my sister.
Thanks.
Aarti, this is
Yeah.
Neeru.
Yeah.
Would you like to consider conducting walks like forest walks or riverside walks, something like that, where you could help us identify these seasonal vegetation? I would like to join you on a walk like that.
Actually, you could have easily joined us because we do the tree walks with Dr. Usha, but as we know, because of the pandemic, we have stopped those walks. Now, what we do is that we go on individual walks, and on WhatsApp we share those images, and we discuss about the species and everything. See, now what the thing is that in our group, most of the members are senior citizens, and we can't take the chance of going out in a pandemic. So we have come to this solution right now. But if the situation is normal, why not? So yeah. So
Okay.
I can't give
Maybe.
you guarantee of physical walks.
Okay, chalo, whenever you decide, and I'll be happy
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
take.
Whenever we will decide, we will put it on our social media, like on my social media. At least I will put it up.
Yes.
And we generally, what we do is that we identify a place and we select around 20 trees beforehand, and then we talk about those 20 trees in our document in our walk. So we are so that walk is more focused. So and we just don't randomly talk about trees. We do a Reiki before, and we identify around 20 trees. So it's more like a organized way of learning trees.
Great. So probably if you could organize it like season wise, like a walk before monsoon, then a walk before winter season. So then we'll also be aware of how seasonally vegetation changes.
Yeah. But as I said, like I can't guarantee right now because of the
Whenever,
pandemic.
whenever
Yeah.
the right time comes.
Yeah, sure. That's a good
Thank you.
suggestion, by the way. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah. Aarti, Mr. Anand Manjrekar is saying that he would have liked to see the Ambada tree featured and the Bimla and the Karmal too. And as Bhai had said, there are so many more.
Yeah, Mr. Whose name? What you said? His
Mr.
name?
Anand Manjrekar.
Anand Manjrekar, if you go to my blog, artigoa.wordpress.com, you will see all these trees because I have documented 16 trees. So where I have spoken about this tree or the other trees, what I do is I write about a tree which is in season at that time of the year, like in March or April or December, whatever. So I know there are many trees blooming or flowering or fruiting in that month. So I can't write about 2 or 3. So what I do is I keep it for the next year. So that is the way I deal with it. And here I spoke about the 5 trees because these are the most commonly found. So it will be easier for anybody and everybody to relate to because they must have seen this tree at least once in their lifetime because they are so commonly found, but somehow we don't know much about them. That's why.
Okay. Ms. Adeline D'Souza is asking if you can give us the name of your blog.
Yeah, I'll put it here. I put it in the chat box.
Yeah. And the thing is, Aarti also contributes on her Facebook page. She's also connected.
I also do. But it's
Yeah, she's also connected to Mission Green Goa and Ecotreks Goa.
Yeah, on Mission Green I post, which is a public post. I post on that also. Yeah.
Okay. So.
Hello, Aarti. This is Alice. Hi, Ramita.
Hello, Alice.
Hi. I unfortunately I made it only to the fag end of the program, and so I'm part of the question session. But I was interested. You showed the picture of a peepal tree. You said peepal, and you showed those leaves. But and then you said that could be a fator food.
No, that is a rock fig. Rock fig.
But that okay, but that's not edible, no? Because as children we used to eat something called fator food. We used to actually break it with a fator and eat what was inside. Is this the edible?
Here it is not eaten. It is used like a covering to make patoli. It is not eaten.
Oh, you make patoli out of these leaves?
Yeah,
Patoli, I thought
as
it was made out
okay.
of the haldi.
Yeah, can I show you again? I think you missed that.
I think Alice, you missed
No,
that.
I saw that picture. That is why I asked you, because the people tree and patoli, according to us, the patoli is made of the haldi plant, no?
Yeah.
What you're showing there, the patoli is made on a haldi plant. That's not the people plant in your image.
Yeah, you can see it here. This one.
Yeah, that is the people. But what you're showing the patoli on,
it is a rock fig.
Okay. But the patoli one,
patoli
one is the haldi plant. Yeah.
Alice, different people, like there are different ways of making that, you know.
Okay, one more thing I want to say this. See, generally 99% of the time you make patoli with these haldi leaves, okay?
Because of the flavor. Yeah, because of the flavor.
But these haldi leaves are not available throughout the year. Like in winter, summer, it is definitely you will not get it because they dry down. But if you want to make patoli maybe for a festive season, like you know what, this year due to pandemic, in my village in Kankan, they celebrated the Ganesh Chaturthi in the month of February because it was postponed because of the pandemic, and we had to make patoli, but the leaves were not available. So and it is not something they have done this for generations. It is not because of the pandemic they came with this solution. They say, okay, haldi leaves is not there, we'll get the father ford leaves. It is just so natural for them to do that.
I'm still confused with the word fator ford because as children we used to eat something called fator ford. I don't know. It was a very tall tree. It had these very tall, almost like a palm tree, very beautiful tree, and it gets these fruit which dry up into almost like a lampshade, and then it opens up into these little ash color seeds which you have to break, and you get almost like a coconut inside, like a coconutty thing inside. That we used to call fator ford. So I'm a little confused. I guess there are different.
I have not come across this, but this is like a rock. This main quality of this easy way to identify this, it grows on a laterite rock. That's why it's called rock fig, and that's why it is called father ford, because it breaks the rock and
the
grows.
Stone. Oh my gosh! Yes. So
right.
I understand now. Okay. I thought because the fruit was hard and you had to actually break it. Okay.
No. This is I'm talking about a Kankan where I documented this.
And the people tree, yes, it does break. It does break structures and houses and everything, no? And the seed falls.
All the ficus trees do that. Yeah.
They do that. Yeah. Very interesting.
This is predominantly grows on the rock. That's why it's called rock.
Okay. Yeah, great to know that. Thank you, Aarti. And
thank you.
Next time I'll make sure I'm there early. I love trees. I love trees very much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good to know that. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Bye.
Thanks for joining and clearing your doubt.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah, it is a little confusing. It was confusing for me also. Yeah.
So Aarti has started her journey, and she's going deeper and deeper into it. And I know, as Bhai Mauza had also said, her research into this field is going to really benefit the Goans. You know, it will help the other people outside Goa. But today the thing is, we ourselves, especially people living in the urban areas, they have forgotten what their flora, fauna, their culture is. And the work that you are doing is of great importance, Aarti. आणि आमकां ते कोंकणीनूय हाडपाक जाय. So thank you very much. It looks like now it's 7:00. Our time is up. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much, friends, all the participants, for joining us, sharing your ideas, giving your suggestions, and thanks a lot to you, Aarti, for this wonderful, informative, and inspiring presentation.
Ramita, you have taken the in-call messages questions. Most of them, I think, are asking about the recording.
Yeah. There is one question, Aarti, before the thorny tree, which is Stepla tree. Where do we find it?
That is also found in forest areas, basically backyard forest. So it is not cultivated as such, but it is, yeah, I have seen this in Porvorim also. You find them a lot of times. I've seen it.
We have plenty in
गव्हाण
Talegaon.
वचत खूप मेळटल्यो.
Yeah.
बांगड्याचे उमंडाले कशें जातले?
Yeah, you just have to see for that thorny bark, the gray color thorny bark. That is the way to identify that tree.
We get plenty in Saligaon if anybody wants. I have plenty in the back of my garden.
Yeah, actually when we went to tree walks, we found many in Porvorim.
Tilfala they called, no? Yeah.
Actually, everything is around us. No, things are there around us. We just have to be aware of them.
Yes, very much.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can I ask one last question?
Yes, sure, Mamta. Yes.
Thank you very much, first of all, for this presentation, Aarti. माझो क्वेश्चन तुका असो आसा की हांव तुका ताजो व्हिडिओय दाखयता. म्हज्या घराचे कुशीक खूप झाडां आसात आनी ह्या फावटी एक झाड आशिल्लें जे आमकां ते खूप हालतालें झाड एक्चुअली. खूप दिसांनी आमकां म्हणजे कळटालें की ते पडपाक आसा म्हणून. हे पळय तें झाड आंब्याचें झाड, खूप वर्सां पयलींचें झाड आनी आमकां तें झाड कापचें पडलें आनी ताका लागून जी चीज आशिल्ली ती दुखवली, कळ्ळें न्ही. सो अशें जेन्ना सिट्युएशन्स आमच्या समोर येता की एक खूब पोन्नें झाड आसा जें हांगासर सगळें क्लीन जायत आसा, हांव पियन रावता, अशा सिट्युएशनान जंय आमकां जे आमचें एनवायरमेंट आसा ताची राखणूय करपाक जाय आनी दुसरे वटेन अशें सिट्युएशन येता, एक तर झाड आमचेर पडटा नाजाल्यार एक तर ताका तरी कापून उडोवचें पडटा. तुजें कितें मत अशा वेळार कितें करपाचें?
I believe it is an old tree.
Yes, a very old tree.
Yeah, so old trees generally, like, there is a danger of falling there. So what you can do is always, because it's in your vicinity, does it belong to you? It's in a private property or does it belong to the panchayat?
No, it doesn't belong to me.
It doesn't belong to?
आमचें न्ही तें झाड.
तुमचें न्ही, it's a panchayat.
खूब वर्सां पयलीं हे फॉर्मेट आशिल्लें. फॉमेंटो आशिल्लें, फॉर्मेट. हांगासर पोर्तुगीजाची टायमार हांगासर फार्म आशिल्ले, ते तेंच्यांनी प्लांट केल्लीं झाडां.
Okay, but right now it is under panchayat, right?
हय.
Yeah. So basically, if you see any direct threat to your lives or property because of the tree, it is better to inform the panchayat or the local forest department saying that this tree could hamper our lives or property. So they will do chopping of that tree just before the monsoon. So also you need to see that this tree is not harmed in any way. By harming, I mean that there is no digging of road or anything like that, because it may hamper the roots and that may loosen their roots and then they may tend to fall. So many trees, if you see in our urban settings, they fall down because of this reason, because we dug up roads all the time to lay cables or anything like that, especially if you see the Kampal road in Panjim. That is like, you have to be very careful when you are doing that. So the panchayats or the departments involved have to take a note that there is a big tree around, so you don't hamper its roots. And the best thing would be to cut down its branches whenever, just before the monsoon. So during monsoon, it can again come back to its branches. So I think if you maintain and take care of nature, nature will take care of you. So it is as simple as that. But I am not in favor of cutting down that tree, such a beautiful tree at all. Like, that will support so many lives which we are not aware of, right from fungi to bats to monkeys to birds and us, definitely, because they will give us oxygen, shade, fruits, flowers, God knows what. So maintaining them is a key, I believe, and also taking care of them. So in turn, they will take care of us.
Yes, thank you. Thanks to my Mamta. एक हांगा सांगचेशें दिसता, भाई मावजो has written a very beautiful story, short story called Burgi Mageli Ti. It's regarding a woman, her passion for her trees and how for her trees are like her children. You should read it, Burgi Mageli Ti. So anyway, friends, thank you very much for joining us today.
There is one question by Adelina D'Souza. I didn't
get Aarti don't want to finish it off.
No, it is in the comment. It is known as puri or something like that. I didn't get
Pudo. She's talking about the patori. It is also called as pudo.
Okay.
Pudo. I think you had shown that. You had shown that.
She's saying patori is also known as pudo.
Patori is different, but it's a different type. The cone-shaped structure that you showed.
The wheat I showed. The
Pudo is the same as a patori mix, but it's made in a jackfruit leaf. And
Yes.
it is made like a little cone shape.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, cone shape. Yeah, it is called pudo.
Okay. Yeah. No, what I showed is wheat, which is very similar to idli. That is also steamed in jackfruit leaves.
But it's something called pudo also.
Okay.
Pudo is exactly like the patori mix with the jaggery and everything, but it's made in a jackfruit cone, and with you have these little sticks that are holding it together. You know, you stitch it up with a little broomstick or something.
Yeah, one thing is that, thanks Alice. One thing, Aarti, you have made me at least nostalgic. You've taken me back to my childhood.
Patori is Ramita.
Yeah, Alice. True. Okay. So I think we will stop our interaction now. And thanks again, once again, all the participants. Thanks to you, Aarti. And we will be having such programs in future too. And to get update about programs by Dhai Aakhar, kindly follow our Instagram page, Dhai Aakhar Goa. Yeah. Kindly follow our Instagram page. So whatever events that we will be having, we will be updating it on our page. And we will be also having a Facebook page soon. So we'll be in touch. Yeah. Thank you so much.